If you thought Dutton Ranch had already reached its breaking point, then what's coming next might destroy everything. Because episode 9 isn't just another chapter in this story, it feels like the moment where loyalties will shatter, power will corrupt, and the ranch itself may never be the same again. And the most dangerous part is that this time the threat isn't coming from enemies outside the gates, it's coming from inside the family. But before we go deeper, make sure you subscribe, because if episode 9 unfolds the way it looks like it will, you do not want to miss what happens next. Now here's the question nobody can stop asking. Did Rob Will finally get everything he wanted, or did he just walk straight into the trap that will destroy him? Because after that shocking ending in episode 8, nothing feels stable anymore. The anniversary celebration was supposed to be a moment of legacy, a reminder of how far the ranch had come. Families were gathered, emotions were high, and for a brief moment it felt like peace was possible. But peace at Dutton Ranch never lasts. And then it happened. Beulah collapsed, not slowly, not quietly. It happened so suddenly that nobody had time to process it. One second she was standing there, carrying the weight of the ranch like she always had. And the next, everything came crashing down. The silence that followed felt heavier than anything we've seen this season. And in that moment, everything changed. Because Beulah wasn't just the leader, she was the glue holding all the broken pieces together. And now with her gone, at least for now, there's a vacuum, and a dangerous one. And standing right in the middle of it is Rob Will. For years, Rob Will chased this exact moment: power, control, authority. He spent his entire life believing that everyone around him was the reason he couldn't rise. He blamed Beulah for never trusting him enough. He blamed Waken for always standing between him and what he wanted. And he blamed the workers for treating him like someone who hadn't earned his place. And now, for the first time ever, nobody is standing in his way. He has it, the keys, the power, the seat at the table. But this is where things get dangerous, because chasing power and carrying it are two completely different things. And Rob Will may be about to learn that the hard way. The trailer already gives us hints. The moment episode 9 begins, it looks like Rob Will wastes no time making changes. Big changes, fast decisions, new orders, a completely different direction for the ranch. And on paper, that sounds like leadership, but in reality it feels reckless. Because instead of learning from those who kept the ranch alive all these years, Rob Will seems obsessed with proving he doesn't need anyone. That's not confidence, that's ego. And ego has destroyed stronger men than him. What makes this even worse is Beulah's condition. If she survives, and I believe she will, it may take time before she can return, and time is exactly what Rob Will needs to reshape everything. That's terrifying, because every extra day under his control gives him more confidence, more freedom, and more chances to make irreversible mistakes. And we've already seen how dangerous he becomes when emotions take over. He doesn't think clearly, he reacts, he attacks, he pushes, but now the consequences are bigger than ever. This isn't about one argument anymore, this is about the future of the entire ranch. One wrong move could cost them land, workers, trust, everything. But while Rob Will is climbing higher, someone else is being pushed into the shadows: Waken. And honestly, no one understands the ranch better than him. He's been there through every crisis, every fight, every hidden problem. While others chased pride or power, Waken stayed focused on survival. He fixed what was broken, protected what mattered, and kept the machine running when nobody else could. He knows the ranch like blood knows veins, which makes his position now even more painful because he sees exactly what's happening. He sees the cracks, he sees the danger, he sees the storm coming, but he may not have the authority to stop it. Imagine watching someone drive straight toward a cliff, knowing you can save them, but being forced to stay silent. That's where Waken is, and silence like that doesn't last forever. At some point, something will break. And when it does, Waken will have to make the hardest choice of his life: stay loyal and let Rob Will fail, or fight back and risk tearing the family apart, and that decision might change everything. But the family isn't the only problem. There's the workers, the backbone of Dutton Ranch. Right now, many of them might still be willing to give Rob Will a chance, not because they trust him, but because power demands patience. They know the situation is unstable, they know Beulah is gone, so for now, they wait. But they watch, they listen, and they wait. Because respect isn't something you inherit, it's something you earn, and Rob Will doesn't seem to understand that. To him, fear and respect look the same, but they're not. Fear creates obedience, while respect creates loyalty, and loyalty is what built this ranch from the ground up. If Rob Will starts ruling through intimidation, if he starts treating the workers like enemies instead of family, he will isolate himself faster than he realizes. And once that happens, everything starts collapsing, because a ranch without loyalty is just land. And land doesn't protect itself. But the next problem may be even bigger, Rip. Now this is where things could explode. Rip has never been the kind of man to stay quiet when something feels wrong. He doesn't play politics, he doesn't sugarcoat the truth, and if he sees weakness, he calls it out. If he sees danger, he confronts it head on. And ever since discovering the truth about Rob Will's past actions, their relationship has been hanging by a thread. That tension has been building for episodes through quiet looks, cold exchanges, and unspoken threats. And now it feels ready to snap. Episode 9 might finally give us that confrontation, and if it happens, it could be brutal, because Rob Will doesn't handle criticism well. He sees it as betrayal. Every warning feels like an attack. Every disagreement feels like disrespect. And that mindset is poison for a leader. Because instead of learning, he pushes back harder. Instead of listening, he doubles down. And if he does that with Rip, he may create an enemy he cannot control. But while everyone else is caught in chaos, there's one person quietly watching all of it. Beth. And Beth might be the smartest person in this entire game, because Beth understands power better than anyone. She knows exactly what it does to people, she knows how quickly it changes them, and more importantly, she knows how quickly it destroys them. While everyone else is reacting to the present, Beth is already thinking about the future, and that's what makes her dangerous. She's always 3 steps ahead. She may not challenge Rob Will right away, not yet, because Beth knows timing is everything. Right now, Rob Will is strong, confident, and feels untouchable, but Beth is waiting for weakness, and weakness always shows. It always does. The moment his leadership starts cracking, Beth will move, and when Beth moves, things get serious fast. No hesitation, no mercy, and no turning back. But even with all this tension, the biggest mystery still remains. Beulah? Is she alive? Will she recover? And if she does, what will she come back to? Because if Beulah stays away too long, Rob Will's confidence will keep growing, and confidence without limits becomes arrogance. That's how downfall begins. History has shown it again and again. The moment someone believes they can't be touched is the moment they become vulnerable. And Rob Will is walking dangerously close to that line. The scary part is that his biggest enemy may not be Waken, not Rip, not Beth, not even the workers. It might be himself, his pride, his anger, and his desperation to prove everyone wrong. Those flaws have always been there, but before, they were contained. Now they have power behind them, and power turns flaws into disasters. That's why episode 9 feels so important, because this may not be the full collapse, not yet, but it feels like the beginning of it, the moment where the cracks stop being hidden, the moment where everyone finally sees what's been building. And once cracks like that appear, they spread fast. What if Waken decides enough is enough? What if Rip refuses to follow orders? What if Beth makes her move? And what if Beulah wakes up only to find her ranch completely unrecognizable? That's the real fear, not just losing control, but losing everything before realizing it. And the truth is, Rob Will still has a chance. He could prove everyone wrong, he could rise, and he could become the leader he always believed he was. But to do that, he would have to do something he has never truly done before. Listen, trust, and change. And right now, that feels unlikely. Because power has a way of revealing who you truly are, and episode 9 might reveal Rob Will's true face once and for all, a leader or a destroyer. And if the trailer is any sign, the answer may be closer than we think. Because no one expected things to spiral this fast, but the real surprise may still be waiting. And when it comes, Dutton Ranch may never recover. So now I want to ask you, do you think Rob Will prove everyone wrong and save the ranch? Or is this finally the beginning of his downfall? Will Waken step in before it's too late? Will Rip and Rob finally go to war? And most importantly, will Beulah return and take back control before everything is lost? Drop your predictions in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because what happens next might be the most explosive moment this season has ever delivered. And the deeper this situation gets, the clearer it becomes that Dutton Ranch is no longer fighting against outside enemies. It's fighting itself. The walls that once protected this family are starting to crack from the inside, and sometimes that kind of damage is the hardest to repair. Rob Will may still believe he is in control, but control is a dangerous illusion, especially when the people around you stop believing in you. And what makes this even worse is that he doesn't seem to realize it yet. That's the terrifying part, because the most dangerous leaders are often the ones who think they're doing everything right while everything around them is falling apart. And episode 9 feels like it's building toward that exact moment. A moment where Rob will make a decision so bold, so reckless, that it will force everyone around him to choose sides. And once that happens, there is no going back. Waken knows this better than anyone. He can feel the shift happening. He can see the ranch slipping away piece by piece. Every order Rob Will gives, every impulsive move he makes, every warning he ignores, it all pushes the ranch closer to chaos. But Waken's silence won't last forever, because there's only so much a man can watch before he's forced to step in. And if Waken finally decides to challenge Rob Will, it won't just be a disagreement. It will be war. Not the kind fought with weapons, but the kind fought with loyalty, trust, and blood. And sometimes those wars hurt the most, because in this family, betrayal cuts deeper than any knife ever could. But then there's Rip. And if there's one person Rob Will should never underestimate, it's him. Rip has always been the kind of man who acts when everyone else hesitates. He doesn't need permission. He doesn't wait for approval. If he believes something is wrong, he handles it. And right now, he sees Rob Will becoming the exact kind of threat the ranch has always fought against. That realization alone could be enough to push Rip over the edge. The tension between them has been growing for too long. Every glance between them feels heavier now. Every conversation sounds like it's one word away from exploding. And what happens when that explosion finally comes? That's the question nobody can answer. Because if Rip and Rob Will clash, the damage won't stop with them. It will spread through everyone connected to the ranch. And then there's Beth. Quiet, watching, calculating. While everyone else is caught up in emotions, Beth is thinking strategically. She knows something nobody else wants to admit. Rob Will is already making mistakes. Maybe small ones right now, maybe invisible to most people. But Beth sees them. She always does. And she understands that mistakes create opportunities. That's why she isn't rushing. That's why she's waiting. Because Beth doesn't attack when people are strong. She attacks when they're weakest. And if Rob Will keeps pushing, keeps letting his pride lead him, he might be handing Beth everything she needs to destroy him. Not with force, but with precision. And somehow, that's even more dangerous. But through all of this chaos, one truth remains hanging over everything like a storm cloud: Beulah. Her absence is being felt in every corner of the ranch. Every decision Rob Will makes feels heavier because she's not there to stop him. And the longer she stays out of the picture, the worse things could become. Because if she comes back and sees the damage, what then? Will she fight to take back control? Will she regret ever trusting Rob Will with power? Or will it already be too late? That uncertainty is what makes episode 9 so powerful. It's not just about what's happening now. It's about what happens when Beulah returns to the ruins of everything she built. And maybe that's the tragedy of all this. Rob Will wanted power so badly that he never stopped to ask himself what it would cost. He spent years believing that power would fix everything, that once he had control, all the respect he wanted would follow. But reality doesn't work like that. Power doesn't create respect. Character does. Leadership does. Sacrifice does. And right now, Rob Will is showing none of those things. Instead, he's showing anger, impatience, pride, and those are the exact traits that destroy leaders from the inside out. The next moment could change everything. One bad decision, one betrayal, one confrontation, that's all it takes, because Dutton Ranch is standing at the edge now, and the ground beneath it is starting to crumble. The real question isn't whether things will get worse, it's how far they'll fall before someone stops it. And by the time episode 9 ends, I have a feeling we won't just be talking about power anymore, we'll be talking about survival. Because sometimes the fight to save a family becomes the very thing that tears it apart. And if that happens here, no one will leave unchanged.